Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well. Today I will be talking about something I never thought I would be talking about when I decided to move to London, but for the past 6 months I have been thinking about moving back home to Slovenia a lot. I think it kind of first started with Brexit when I started thinking about potentially moving to another European country, but I have come to the conclusion that I probably don't want to do that on my own again because it's a really stressful process. You basically have to restart your life from scratch, and at the end of the day I would probably want to move back to Slovenia at one point anyway, so moving back home to Slovenia from London directly would probably be the best way to go about it. So yeah, I decided I am moving back home to Slovenia. It probably seems very out of the blue, but let me explain. I'm not like moving in the next few weeks or in the next few months. However, something inside of me tells me that I'm gonna move back in the following year, probably in the second half of next year. Saying that, I'm always keeping my options open. If life has taught me something, it has taught me that a lot of things can happen in a very short period of time. So we'll see what the life has in store for me. I may end up staying here for a little bit longer, but probably not more than a couple of years. So yeah, let me explain you the reasons now, because there's actually quite a lot of them. Like I said, when I first moved here, lots of people from back home started asking me, oh, how long you're gonna stay, when are you coming back, you know, the usual. And my answer has always been never. When I moved to London, I really thought that I would be staying here for good. That was my plan. But I think I saw London from like a tourist point of view, which is very different from, you know, the real life, I guess. It is always like that when you're traveling. You mostly just see the good things, that it's exciting, but when you live here, the reality sets in and it's not as an amazing place as people may think. And you know, throughout the years I have changed as well. I'm not interested in the same things I used to be. Well, I'm still kind of like the same person, but certain aspects that kind of drew me towards London are no longer that important to me. One of the main reasons why I even started thinking about making the move from the big city life is, some of you probably already know that I have quite big problems with being stressed out, being anxious, and in the past 6 months it has been getting progressively worse. And living in such a stressful environment that London is, where there's like people everywhere you go, it's crowdy, there's no space where you can just like, you know, take a deep breath. Everything is very fast paced, and this kind of lifestyle really does take a toll on you physically and mentally, and it has definitely taken a toll on me, especially because contrary to being busy and crowdy, you know, there's like a lot of people here, but at the end of the day, it can also be a very lonely place. Most people are just doing their own things, and I come from an environment where the community aspect is like really big. You know, I know my neighbors, I'm close to my family, I hang out with my relatives like all the time. So moving to London and not knowing a single soul here was quite difficult, but I think initially, because I had so many things to worry about, I didn't really think about those stuff. Like, I wasn't feeling all that lonely. But now, 3 years down the line, it has really started bothering me that sometimes I don't speak to anyone for weeks. It isn't normal. Even though like I'm an introvert, I still need social interaction like every human being, and it's something that I'm not really getting here on a daily basis. I really don't know how to explain it, but yeah, everyone is doing their own thing here. Even though I know quite a lot of people here, it sometimes takes you months to kind of like find a slot where you could like both meet, and it's not like we're living around a corner from each other. You know, most of us, even though we live in the same city, we are actually hours away from each other. Most of us also work long hours, so it's quite difficult to plan to meet up. And yeah, I just miss having people around, especially because I basically work on my own. I don't have any like colleagues, so sometimes I literally don't have any conversation in person with people in like weeks. So yeah, loneliness and just a whole stress, anxiety, depression thing is not working to my advantage here. And I actually know a few people that have recently decided to move out of London for that very same reason, and they said that once they moved to another, more like calm down location, that their anxiety pretty much disappeared. And I think you guys notice that when you are watching my travel vlogs, whenever I travel or when I go back home and I'm surrounded by my family. A lot of you have commented saying that I look much happier, and that's because I probably am. Another big reason for me is safety. Up until a year, I never really felt like London was a dangerous place to live, but I feel like it's been getting progressively worse with all the terrorist attacks. There's a lot of acid attacks happening, which to me is just mind-blowing. There are literally people driving around throwing acid in people's faces to rob them. Not even like, at night in like dodgy areas, but like it has happened during the day close to where I work in central London a couple of months ago, and that really freaked me out. And also I was robbed this year at 11 p.m. on a bus, and that really affected me. I'm still reliving that moment, and even though it could be way worse than it was, it kind of makes you reevaluate your life. And coming from one of the safest countries in the world, I would rather live somewhere where I don't feel endangered all the time and I can relax when I leave my house, because here, after I got robbed for, I don't know, the next 3-4 months, I was literally afraid to go anywhere, and everyone that came close to me made me like jump, and it was just a very stressful situation. Yeah, there's a lot of crime in the city, especially recently. I think we're all noticing it, and it's just not a nice place to live when you never really know what's gonna hit you, basically. And then the next thing, which is probably like the biggest reason for me and the main reason why I decided to move back home sooner or later, is the whole work-life balance and the quality of life here. I'm gonna be very straightforward here and just gonna say, if you don't earn a lot of money here, you can't have a normal life. A lot of you who watch my vlogs or follow my Instagram probably think that I'm living this super exciting life, living it on a big scale, but the truth couldn't be further away. The reality is, I go to work and earn enough money to cover my rent, buy a train ticket and food. I don't really have a lot of spare money laying around, and now that I'll be turning 26 years old, yes, I am getting old, I started thinking about the future and what I want from life. And I don't want to be going to work just to survive and not being able to enjoy life. When I'm 30, I don't want to be living in a house with strangers, which you have to do if you live in London and don't have a very high salary. You basically have to share a house or a flat with a lot of other people you may or may not know. The rents are so horrendously high here that with the amount you earn, you usually can't even rent your own flat. You have to just rent a room. So like I said, I'm 26 and I still feel like I'm a student, like sharing a dorm, which isn't always fun. I'm quite lucky that I have flatmates that I go along with, and my room is quite big, which most rooms in London are not. Before I moved here, I used to live in what I call cardboard box sized rooms. But at the end of the day, I want to have my own space one day. I don't want to be waiting around for hours to be able to shower, to use the kitchen, to use the washing machine. And yeah, I just want to have my own flat. Not in the next couple of years, that's unrealistic, but maybe in the next 10 years, So yeah, that's one of the main reasons why living long term here would never work out for me. And also because not one of my main goals, my main goal in life is to travel, to see as much of the world as possible, and not having any disposable income, like I basically cannot do that. In comparison to my peers back in Slovenia, I earn a lot more money, but because the expenses in London are so high, I can't really afford to do anything. And then I see all those people back home who may not even have like the best jobs and don't earn a lot of money, but they're still, living the life. And it definitely makes me feel like I maybe made the wrong decision moving here. I mean, I don't regret regret it because I did gain a lot of life experience. I think I also gained a lot of like business work experience that will help me in the future, either, you know, get a job back home or maybe run my own business, which is also something that I would prefer to do because I really want to be able to work remote. But yeah, living in London long term definitely doesn't align with what I want from life anymore. So those are kind of the main reasons, I guess. Obviously, I do have quite a lot of concerns as well about moving back home, which is why I'm actually really scared to do it. First of all, with me, it always seems like I'm at the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional, why I'm gonna try not to cry. But when I moved here from Slovenia, I thought a lot of doors would open for me, and that didn't quite happen. One of the reasons why I wanted to move here is because I really wanted to focus on creating content for, you know, my blog and my YouTube, because the industry in Slovenia was non-existent. But honestly, moving to London, because I was such a small fish in a very big pond, nothing came out of it, to be honest. And now the industry back home is booming and everything, but I kind of missed the train, and I'm afraid that now if I move back home, then maybe because there are some doors that started opening up here for me recently, I feel like I'm gonna be at the wrong place at the wrong time again, if that makes sense. And because I work in social media marketing / content creation, even though the industry is developing back home in Slovenia, Slovenia is a country with only 2 million people, our market is very tiny, and I'm really scared that I basically wouldn't be able to find work there. Not that it is very easy for me to find work here, because like I said, there's so many people, the competition is so strong. But yeah, that's like also one of the reasons why I'm like scared to move back home. I'm afraid that I'll be going back home and go from working for some like really cool clients over here to not being able to find a job that's better than working at a store. And going back to the whole social aspect, even though I wouldn't say I have a whole lot of good friends here, but I would say that I have a social circle here, whereas back home I literally don't have one at all. I never really had many friends to start with, and when I moved to London I basically kind of lost touch with everyone. So I'm really scared about going back home and not having a single friend, a single person to hang out with. Luckily, my family will always be there, and that's also one of the reasons why I do want to move back home, because I do miss my family. But yeah, there's a lot of things I feel like I need to think about before making the move, I guess. I feel like I would experience a very big reversal culture shock, and I also feel guilty for like wanting to move back, because I feel like I'm throwing everything that I have been trying to build here for 3 years away and possibly making a big mistake. But yeah, at the end of the day, deep down in my heart, I feel like that would be best for me, and I can only hope that everything work and social life wise will work out in the end as well. Whew. I really don't know why filming this video was so hard to me. Like, I'm on the verge of tears all the time. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I thought I would let you know where I stand with the whole living in London situation. I'm gonna try to live my life to the fullest while I'm still here, and kind of I guess start to slowly making the transition in my mind that I will be probably moving back in a year or two. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Just kind of like, I guess, the real side of living in London and why it's maybe not like the best place for everyone. I feel like London is kind of a transitional place for most of us who live here because of the whole not being able to buy a house or flat here. Just to give you perspective, to buy a really small, not even nice flat here, it costs you like £500,000 which is insane. I feel like a lot of Londoners come to the same conclusion. It's great to be here when you're young and are trying to climb up the career ladder, I guess, but once you want to breathe a little bit and live a relaxing, well, not a relaxing life, but just have a better work-life balance, most people actually do move out of London here, either, you know, to a different place in the country or to their home country, because most of us living here are actually immigrants. And oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention Brexit. That's also one of the main reasons why I want to move. I mean, I would probably be pushed out eventually anyways, but when Brexit happens, to be honest, I personally don't want to stay here because I feel like the UK will be going downhill very fast. And quite honestly, I don't want to be here when the whole financial disaster plays out, which I think it will. And I think that's when London will become even more difficult to live in. So yeah, that's also one of the reasons actually I totally forgot to mention, because it is not like the main reason for me. I don't even think about Brexit anymore, but it's definitely in the back of my mind. Anyway, I think I should wrap this up because I'm actually in a hurry. I need to go do some work. Thank you for watching this video. I would love to know your thoughts, especially if you're a Londoner yourself. What do you think about living in the city? Are you planning to move out eventually as well? But yeah, sorry if this video was a little bit a mess and a little bit all over the place, because that's how I currently feel. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Have a nice day. Bye!
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking.